Welcome back to History in Motion, proudly brought to you by Midas.
Before the break, I asked you a quick question. Who was the only person to win a World Formula One Drivers' Championship by designing and building basically his own car? The answer, Sir Jack Brabham. In 1966, he won his third driver's title, and his team also won the manufacturer's title in a Brabham Repco.
Cars of all shapes and sizes will be taking to the grid for the final 2 rounds of the SKF Pre-66 Legend Production Cars and Sports and GTs. With the overall championship going down to the wire between 2 Alpha drivers, nerves will be frayed.
The plan is to finish both races, and it's going to be close regardless. Just have fun, and it feels good. Tyre wear seems a bit heavy today, but I guess Kyalami is often like that. But otherwise, it feels good.
Yeah, it's been actually fairly easy all year. I can't believe the pressure I'm feeling today. So Mark's got 4 points. I need to get 2 clear wins today, and hopefully him 2 seconds. That should give me the championship, unless that reverses, or the other option is a first and a second and a second and a first, which will make it very close. So yeah, it's all about keeping it tidy, no mistakes today, and keeping our heads. The goal is fantastic, not a problem this year at all. Never misses a beat. It's just the actual operator sometimes that's not so sharp, but the car's perfect.
Leading the field is the red and white Daytona Coupe of Jonathan du Toit as he takes up his position on the grid. Beside him will be Oliver Delay in the number 5 GT40. Clive Densham makes a welcome return to the grid in 5th place in his Alfa Giulia. But all eyes will be on the battle for the championship, with the 2 contenders lining up in 10th and 11th on the grid, ready to take the battle down to the wire. The lights are out and the field are off. Heading into turn 1, it's the Daytona who takes the lead. Larry Davies manages to put Nick Parrott between himself and Mark Miller. We see Roger Houston and Jacques Bartman side by side, while Terence Burtis and John Simpson battle it out. The field is still tightly bunched up as they make their way around the first few corners, but already some battles are beginning to take shape. On board the dart of Ishmael Beloy, and ahead of him we see John Simpson and Terence Burtis running side by side down the back straight. Burtis edges ahead of Simpson as the pair make their way to sunset. And the little Mini makes the move stick. Simpson is not ready to give way that easily, and he fights back as they head into Clubhouse, and he makes a move down the inside. Round the outside, Burtis goes, pushing the little Mini as hard as he can, and he edges ahead of Simpson as they enter the S's. Great driving. Coming into turn 14, and the Lotus of Josh Dovey is racing down the hill and makes a lunge down the inside of Densham to run alongside him onto the start-finish straight. I'm not sure that Densham even saw that move coming. Dovey really was carrying a lot of speed. Great move. Side by side they come into turn 1, and Dovey moves ahead of the Alpha. Into turn 14, and Densham has worked his way up to Mark du Toit in the smoky Unix Chev Chevelle. Pushing hard, du Toit loses it, and Densham has nowhere to go other than the door of the Chevelle. This is a terrible result for Clive Densham. After his woes of the historic saloons, he did well to get his car going for this race, and to have to end up in such a fashion is a real disappointment. Du Toit manages to get the Chevelle going, and will be able to continue with his race, albeit with a lot of ground to make up. Let's take a look at the replay from Clive Densham's on board, and you can really see that he had nowhere to go. A real shame. Back to the battle for the championship, and with Mark Miller just 4 points ahead of Larry Davies going into this race, it really is down to the wire. These 2 cars and drivers are so evenly matched, and they really are providing some edge-of-your-chair action. Nose to tail, they come down the hill into turn 14. Miller is pushing hard and looking for a way past Davies, but he isn't close enough this lap. It looks like a retirement here for Greg Telvolbeek as he pulls over to the side of the track just after turn 2. At the front, Oliver DeLay is ahead of Jonathan Totoy, but Totoy is pushing hard in the Daytona, and he's really going to test the GT40 to its limits. Up into West Bank, and Totoy has a look down the inside. DeLay gives him space, and he makes the move as they exit and head for the mine shaft, but the GT40 is not beaten yet. Out of the mine shaft and towards the bowl, DeLay leads the way and passes the MGA of Bug Singh. Totoy's in hot pursuit, determined to keep the GT40 within his grasp. Into turn 13, and the GT40 is all over the place. DeLay loses it and heads into the kitty litter, kicking up a dust storm on his way. He will be very upset with himself as he gives the lead to Jonathan Totoy. Looking at the replay, you can see the Daytona did well to avoid contact with the GT40. Making his way back up through the field, Mark Totoy is running behind the little impeti of Dennis McBeath. McBeath has already won the Pre-66 Sports and GT Championship in his fantastic car, and he will be putting in some great times in this little car. Behind them, the championship battle continues between the Alphas as they head into the bowl. Totoy has made his way past McBeath, and Davies still leads Miller. Ishmael Valoy makes a move on the start-finish straight as he pulls up alongside Jacques Bartman. Over the start-finish line, and it looks like Valoy has the advantage as they head into turn 1. Great move from Valoy, but Bartman will be fighting back. Into the final turn comes the Little Giants champion for 2014, Ferry Fanikak Sr. in his Porsche 356. It's truly a beautiful machine that has performed very well this year. Mark Totoy is still making his way up the field and trying to regain some lost time. Meanwhile, Larry Davies has his hands full trying to keep Mark Miller at bay as he needs every point he can get to keep his championship hopes alive. Ishmael Valoy is hunting down the Mini of Terence Portis, and he makes his pass as they head up towards West Bank. The Dart is performing really well. Jacques Bartman is still holding onto the back of the pair in his Alpha as they head out of West Bank and down the mine shaft. Coming into the final turn on the last lap, it's Mark Totoy in his Daytona Coupe who will take the checkered flag and victory in Heat 1. Ferdy Fanikak Jr. comes home in second place in his Mustang. Ifrit Buerta rounds the final bend to come home in third place, and he has had a rather lonely race. Ferdy Fanikak Sr. coming through to take class victory with Jean Milan in his Renault R10, coming home third in Class W. Wayne Plitt is fending off John Simpson, who is doing everything he can to try and catch the Mini. Pushing too hard, he runs wide, but keeps the momentum up and is able to rejoin the track and push on. Round the final bend, he overcooks it again and does a full 180 to end up facing in the wrong direction. Confirmation of the results, and Roy Prondo's victory in Class ZB hands him the championship after main rival Dencham's forced retirement. Larry Davies now moves to within 2 points of Mark Miller in the overall championship, and it's really all to play for going into the final race.
It was interesting. I haven't led a race that long in quite a while, and I went in a bit fast and on the one corner overtaking traffic, and I lost control, and so I ended somewhere further back.
I had a good start. Then I was battling a little bit with getting it into third gear, and Oliver got past him, and I chased him down. I got past him, he got back, and then I thought, well, I've got 2 laps to go, but start trying to find my place, and then Oliver went and did it on his own, so it made it easy at the end.
I think we go into the final heat with 1 point different. Mark was 1 point on me. Mark, I'm out there to get it. But Mark was very fair. He put lots of pressure on me. And yeah, that's how it turned out in the end. So we'll have to see what happens in Heat 2.
Lawrence made it very hard work to stay with him. I couldn't get past. He drove very nicely. So yeah, it's down to the wire in race 2.
I'm going to look in the forward direction and not in my mirrors. So Mark, I don't see you. And yeah, I'm just going to try and keep it tidy and keep it going to the end.
And what did John Simpson have to say about his last lap?
I was trying to keep up with the Mini and trying to go a little bit faster through the bowl and then through the last 2 turns to beat him to the line, but unfortunately I overdid it. So at the bowl, I outbraked myself, got sideways, went into the dirt, and I thought, well, I can still get back at him. And the last turn, I then spun it completely round, so that was it. end of any chance of overtaking him. A bit of a disaster, actually. But it was a lot of fun. I mean, I had a great dice with it.
We straightened up the suspension, got it sorted, pulled the fenders out, and everything looked good. The car felt good. And then coming into the last turn, Mark du Toit spun right in front of me, and there was nowhere for me to go, so I connected him. So really having a really bad day.
Join us after the break for the championship decider in the 366 Legend Production Cars and Sports and GTs.